So here's what I'll be using for Merlin. And it's a bit messy right now, like sure the shell's okay, but the tender, this is just from like an old Edward, but you know, I don't even know where the wheels are, so I gotta find replacements for those. But I'm gonna go over what I intend on doing. One, I intend on moving the dome up more, as well as cutting this down. And well, also I'm gonna get away the firebox, or cut away the firebox. And another idea I have, from Merlin's bases, they have kind of long cabs, and the wheels are kind of under the cab. So instead of like shifting the wheelbase, which I have done before and it did not turn out very well, I'm gonna bring the cab forward a bit. I'm gonna also cut the wheel arches down for a thing. But here I'm gonna go over the reason why I'm making Merlin. If you know, I do have the Trackmaster 2 one. I don't know where, but I do have it. And it's not that great compared to Merlin, you know? And yeah, just the proportions and all that kind of stuff, I don't like them, so that might be fun to make a custom of it. But I'll also be giving him my own take. Like, sure, instead of being like full on silver, he's going to be gray. He's going to probably be a bit more like, what is it, like to a real life standard. But I will start on just disassembling it and I'll get to all that. Alright, so here's everything taken apart. First you got the smoke box, which, you know, this actually came off really easily. Like, normally I have to like force them off, but this one just slid off easily. You know, I took off just little stickers, even though I probably didn't need to. And on here, I just sanded it a little bit. I thought it would make it a bit better for later. So you got the, whatever this is, running board. And for the chassis bit of the tender, I did find 2 replacement wheels. And the rest I just put in this again. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to just start cutting down. And what I plan to do is, one, just flatten this out right here. Same for here. Just like little lines where they go up, if that makes any sense. And I'm going to cut this down a bit to be flush with this. As well as some of the boiler rings. Well, probably all of them except for the front one. And the running board might have slight modification like in the back and the front, but I don't think too much. And on here, I'm not sure, I might try and avoid this just in case, but I might cut the steam pipes down. Oh, and as well as, if you notice, the couplings, or side rods, whatever they're called, connecting rods, were really bent. I straightened them out, although I may have to work on them a bit more. But this is what I'll be doing, so I'll start the cutting now. Alright, I believe I did all the cutting. So I'm going to start with the tender. I tried to, well, I give it a slope in the back, because the Merlin tender, or the King Arthur class, I think it's also called an N15, they have like this slope with the tender. And I will actually, when I shape, I'm going to be bringing this out a bit with cardboard. And on here, you just, you got the thing cut in, so it's basically flush, so I can just put paper over it, extend the boiler back. And I ended up cutting the wheel arches off. I didn't plan to, but it's kind of easier than having to shorten them, because I couldn't really get, like, the crevice in between the wheel arch and the side, if that makes any sense. So I just took them off completely. Probably will just build them up with cardboard on the other side as well. And if you notice, I have a little red line here. And that's because I am going to be extending the smoke box ever so slightly, because although I do think it looks good, like, if you have, like, Henry on your own, it is a bit short for most engines. So I'll be extending it. I'm thinking about cutting this part off, because either, well, like, if you remember for Big City engine, it was connected, or the smoke box was connected to the steam deflectors, and it was basically stuck in place. Or I'm going to make it so this is connected to this, and the steam deflectors are connected to the smoke box and not the running board. So yeah, it's either, it's either I cut this part off and have this glued onto here, or glue this onto this and have the steam deflectors connected to this. If that makes any sense, I might be really confusing for that, but I shall continue. So on the front, I just cut these little spots because it kind of curves right there from the Merlin base, and I just made this part flat. I will try and make it look a bit nicer. And I also did the curve thing on the back of the tender. So what I need to do now is just start all the shaping I talked about. So here's all the shaping, and it is a lot. I'll start with the tender. For one, you got the side parts extended out with cardboard. I think it actually looks pretty nice. The back just covered up a bit. And I gotta find it right here. I did a little tender cover. It's not much, but I think it does the job. Now, on here, I did a lot. Here, I'm gonna take it apart a bit. Starting at here, you just got two little things for the frames. These black pieces for like his lights, if you know the actual Merlin. And take this off. I decided to have the steam deflectors attached to the smoke box other than to just mount it here, because it would be a bit easier. And as you see, you got the 3 funnels. One is the normal Henry funnel, I just moved it. The other 2 are from my Trackmaster 2 Merlin. Yeah, I basically destroyed this in order. Well, not destroyed, but I just got the face off, which I didn't really need, but I cut the 2 things off. And, well, yeah. You know. Extended this back a bit. And now on here, this is the most work. For one, you see this, but it's really, from here on out, this isn't completely cardboard. It's just an extension of the cab and covered with paper to make it look just even. On the front, the boiler. You got the whistle and what I'm assuming is supposed to be like the safety valve. I couldn't get like little things poking out because they were a bit too small. I moved the dome, and as well as the wheel covers on both sides. I actually just used one wheel arch underneath, and the rest is just cardboard with paper on top. And I cut this here because of the switch. And that's really it for shaping. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint this in a light gray. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm going to give this my own take on Merlin's livery. I'm going to base him off an actual King Arthur class, because there's ones in like a dark green, some in like an olive green. And I'm going to slightly base it off that, but Merlin colors. Think of it almost as like my Timothy I made. So, I will start putting the gray base coat on now. So, here's everything painted gray. And on the shell, you got just everything around. I painted the front a little bit just in case you can see in the smoke box. You got all around. I didn't really paint on the inside, but I did where it might be needed, like kind of just here and here. And on here, you may be thinking, why am I painting these gray? They're not going to be fully gray, but if you look on like an actual King Arthur class, it has black or black as for the steam deflectors, but the color of the base coat on the inside, if that makes any sense, it's like almost lining. So I'm going to be doing that. And also, if you got the tender, I really do think this is coming together. So you got gray all around, and on the insides a little bit. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start working on the black and red paint, because I'm thinking, although I'm not sure how good it would look, I'm going to paint the real wheels red, but like a dark red, aka this one. I think it would look pretty good. As well as, like, I'm thinking about doing a black coat of paint on the outsides of the lines, if that makes any sense. Like, if you remember my Timothy, what is it? It has, like, black on the outsides, then red on the inside. I'm thinking of doing something like that. So, I'm just going to start working on the black and red paint, and I'll get back to you. Here's what I got so far. So, it isn't too much, but I'll just start. So first, you got a little black line on the bottom of the tender. Red on the back. I used the dark red because I thought it would look nice, and plus I'm a bit lazy to swap red colors. Red on the front. Just painted all this black. Same for the bottom part of the chassis. And on here, I just painted the back black. And the sides, still gray. And on here, it's a bit messy, but I'll explain why. But you got black on the top. And a little bit on the sides. And the thing about that is, I'm just going to wait to do this till I do the lining, which is something I'm doing next, because it is actually a big task to do, like, black lines all around it. Same for the tender. But yeah, now I'm going to do, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do red lines on the boiler, as well as around it, and plus I will do the black lines as well, same for here, and just continue to paint the things black. Yeah, this is what I was doing recently, but also with the lines. Alright, so I did a lot. Now, to start on the running board, I did a red stripe. And on the smoke box, you see, you got the gray with the black around it, and I really do think this looks good, especially with the red line. And the tender, yeah, a red line at the bottom, and the black and red line. And here's the thing, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but my red paint pen, I'm pretty sure that's like, it like smears a lot. it's kind of watery. So that can make it a bit hard to do, but I do think it looks good. Had a lot of correcting on the lining to do, and I actually did backlining. And on the shell, you got black on the top of the wheel arch thing, and on the sides you got the red and black. Same for here. I did red boiler lining for stripes, and really, I do think this looks good. Yeah, on this side, on the same side, black on the back, and on the top you got just the little lines Merlin has, or the basis. And also, for the pistons, I did gray with red on the sides. I decided to paint the gray in. And I meant to show this earlier, but I kind of forgot, but here are all the wheels. Mini wheels as well. You got them in the, I think it's like a brick red, yeah. Yeah, the brick red. I don't know, I think it suits it like a lot. So, what I have to do now is the final detailing, and that'll be like putting in a window, which means I think I do have to remove, or move the lines a bit, like right here. Same for this side. Paint the whistle like gold, do the windows, handrails, and down here, paint these two white, because they're like supposed to be his lamps. And I'm going to also put on the decals, like logo here. I'm going to paint the buffers silver. So I will get to all that right now. Alright, so all the final details have been put on. And also, one thing, I'm being honest here, I forgot to record this, but I did finish the details, but I also went ahead and did the clear coat. So yeah, I forgot to record the details. Now, on the front, you got silver buffers and a white rim at the bottom, as well as the 783. And you got the lamps painted, and that's really it for that. The wheels, well, they all just have the clear coat on them. I'll just show these two, because there's not much to them. Clear coat on here. And on here, you got just little golden details. Thought they would look really nice for like a builder's plate almost. I really like this. And on the tender, yeah, British Railways logo. It's a bit bright, but I think it does suit it. On the back, you got a little tail lamp, as well as the same you got on the front buffer beam. And finally, you got this. You got the Merlin nameplate, as well as the, oh, I didn't mean to drop that, the 783. Same on the other side. As well as you got a window detail, that was just, okay, that came right off. As well as just the safety valve and whistle painted, as well as the windows. And now, all there's left to do is just put it all together. Alright, so here's Merlin basically all done except for a face. Seriously, I like this a lot. I think it's one of my favorites, and definitely a lot better than this dead boy right here. Yeah, 100% actually. And just here you got Merlin. I don't know. I tried giving him a custom look for this, and I really do think it came out well. You got the front. It has sort of a dark color vibe to it. And yeah, I just really like that. And I do actually like the character of Merlin, although I do think he could use some more work from like JBS. I don't know. I do plan on maybe doing some things with him for like, maybe like appear in, I wouldn't say Stepney the Criminal, but I won't give spoilers, but I do plan on doing things with Merlin. And yeah, only thing to do now is put on a face, which I have done. And I just used a normal Merlin face, no custom ones, although I do want to get back into doing those, but my editing software things I use are for some reason just not working for me. But I do like the look of this. I tried to give it as much detail as I could, and I really do think it came out well. So, this is my custom Merlin. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye!